The role of teachers and academia is not just based on some academic contribution, but essentially a matter of continuous review of academic programs. Are our programs serving their purpose? Then, do we have proper development of personality? Are we learning properly? Time management. How much time we waste in just social media? How much time we waste in just chatting and doing ghiba, talking about things irrelevant for us? Have we learned emotional management? Can we control our emotions? Have we done some visioning so we understand what is ahead in our future? This can be done only when we have a reorientation of teachers, because it is teachers who impart knowledge to students. If you have a low quality of teachers, if they are just educational laborers who work for 8 hours and get salary of 8 hours like a factory worker, then you can bring no change at all. But if they feel they have an obligation toward every individual student, bringing them up, helping them, changing their lifestyle, their mindset, only then they can play their role. So, first and foremost is change of their orientation, and for that we thought the more we relate them with the Quran through study circles, the more they will have sense of responsibility. Every Muslim home has a copy of the Quran or more copies, but how many times this copy is read? Perhaps once in Ramadan, and perhaps very few who would like to devote 5 or 7 minutes every morning after Fajr or some other prayer and just glance over a few pages without knowing what you are reading. Unless we relate with the Quran, understand the global message for humanity, not for Muslims, all human beings. We cannot translate our dreams, our objectives of changing life of students. Secondly, the prophetic role model, because whether Muslims or non-Muslims, they all recognize the most successful, the most ideal person in human history has been Prophet, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, various Western writers like Michael Hart and many others put him at the top of the leadership of the world. It is not because of Muslim bias, but because of his real greatness. Now, that is our role model, but unfortunately we go for 6 habits, 7 habits of so and so, and the manual of so and think that that can make a personality more functional. Actually, what we need to do is to discover the dimensions of personality and then translate those into our own behavior and translate that into character of our own students. That is why we are very much concerned about, after the Quran, going for a scientific and logical study of the Prophet's life. Thirdly, critical thinking, that looking on things very critically, re-examining. I believe that all faculty members have a right to disagree with me. They should come and discuss as long as they want any issue on which they have an opinion, and unless they are fully satisfied and convinced, they have a right to hold their opinion. Therefore, critical thinking, and particularly trying to look into our so-called cultural traditions in which we have been living for many centuries, the so-called Eastern ways, the so-called local cultures which have nothing to do with human values, but they are based on ignorant mythologies. Now, those have to be critically examined. Is it really worthwhile for me to go to a person who does not even wear a dress to cover his whole body, who has dust on his body, and then touch him and request him to make a dua for my success? Is that rational, logical? Is that custom not practiced in every single province of this country? Major cities everywhere, villages? Do we look on that critically? Or we say this is how things are? So, critical thinking, and then observance of our faraid, obligations, huququllah and huququl ibad. Teachers should be oriented in understanding those and observing those. So, what is our strategy? Our strategy has to be based on, first and foremost, liberation from neocolonial mindset, the mindset which we have traditionally, who are educated in universities as well as Dini Madaris. They inherit a neo-colonialist mindset where the ruler is God, where whatever comes from the West is best. Secondly, excellence in education and research. That is why we focus on production of research, and REAR was established much before HEC thought about it. HEC came in 2009 with the creation of such bodies, but in 2006 we established REAR and made it responsible to encourage faculty members and give them seed money and provide facilities for research and so on and so forth. So, we believe excellence in research is a key. Thirdly, strengthening Islamic foundations of economic and political institutions. Unless we have institutional presence of Islam, Islamic businesses, Islamic education, Islamic institutions, we cannot have a social change. And then ultimately, creation of ilm and nafi, knowledge creation that leads to an ethical revolution based on the Quran and Sunnah. Does not mean what people talk about globally. They think Quran and Sunnah mean a rule of some mullahs, Taliban, some extremist, and that is totally a myth, incorrect. It is a Western gift which has been put in our minds. When we talk about the system based on Quran and Sunnah, it means that system where you have human dignity and honor, where you have people who are observing basic Islamic values.